Culture swap.
Swap my culture.
We watched Glow season 1.
Okay.
I thought we were in a rush. I thought, time was ticking.
Bye. That was Nerd or Nerd. See you later.
Catch you later. What do you think of it?
Liam, what is Glow about?
It's about gorgeous
listeners,
ladies of wrestling.
This bit's going to be full of spoilers for the first season of Glow. So if you're interested in going and watching it, it's on Netflix. Go do it. Then come back and listen to us. We'll still be here.
If you
I think that might count as 2 listens for us. So
no spoils. But if someone's on the fence about watching this, what would you say to convince them to watch this, or to convince them not to, depending on if you enjoyed it or not?
If someone's on the fence, no spoilers.
Yeah.
I say it's just a I was going to say a fun show, but then I don't know if that's the right way to describe it.
No.
Because some bits aren't so fun.
No.
I don't know. It's an interesting look at female wrestlers with a sort of, not historical. What do you call it? Like what's it called when it's like set?
Yeah, it is.
Because it's like recent history. It's
Yeah, it's based on true events.
Yeah.
There is a documentary on Netflix that's about the real Glow sort of thing.
Yeah, which I've not watched yet, but I want to.
Yeah, I thought you might.
But yeah, I don't know if you're interested in what that time period was like, or wrestling, or
that time period being the 80s.
Yeah. Yeah, go watch it. What would you say, Liam, to discourage people from watching it?
To discourage people?
Well, I assume you would want to discourage people, because...
No, I'd say, if you want to watch it, there's plenty of other shows that might be better. If you want to see Alison Brie totally naked, this is the show for you.
It's the wrong reason to be watching it.
Oh, yeah. Definitely.
I can already tell we're going to fall out in this episode. So, listeners, from now on we are doing spoilers.
Yeah.
Liam.
Yeah.
What's Glow about?
It's about gorgeous ladies of wrestling.
Doing what?
Wrestling.
What do they look like?
Ladies.
No, I was hinting you for gorgeous.
Oh, they're not all gorgeous though, to be fair.
That's really mean of you. Glow is about a group of women who are hired to act in a wrestling tournament thing for TV.
Yeah, most of them have 0 prior wrestling experience.
Yeah.
What
I think there's one... No, there's two that have experience.
Yeah. What? Is there?
Yeah.
The trainer?
The one who's the one who's the daughter of the wrestler.
Okay, yeah. I was going to say something, I forgot. One of the things I did like is it made the point that we made when we had Sam on, and I was saying how wrestling is just basically like a soap for guys.
Yes, yeah. When they said that, I was like, oh yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly what I said about wrestling. I was pleased that they made that point. I wish that they'd done more with that though.
How do you mean?
So they make that point, but then they don't really show the characters like sitting down and talking about like their storylines or planning any of that. It all just seems to be quite not unplanned, but it's done like off screen in a way. Like there is a loose storyline that's going on with all of the characters, but we don't really get to see them actually developing that at any point in the show.
Yeah, I think it's because
it's having this like, I think it's having this very thrown together like feel to it, where like most of the people involved shouldn't be involved. The director doesn't really care that much about it, doesn't have like he's just doing it so he can get the money to make his movie afterwards. Yeah. So I think the point they're trying to make is it's just slapped together real like. But
even then, I mean, like I think the whole like wrestling's like a soap opera. I don't think that scene was meant to be like, so everything's, it's this entirely scripted, like we've got to have these deep stories. I think they were making the point of like the flow of the fight.
Yeah, I just would have liked to have seen him.
The guy that says that to them is like, I mean, when you look at the wrestling match that he has,
yeah,
because they at one point go and watch a famous actress who has joined the wrestling group,
yeah,
is not really getting it and is sort of like, why am I wasting my time with this?
She was a soap actress.
So she goes and watches with 2 of the other ones a wrestling match, a live one.
Yeah.
Afterwards meets up with one of the wrestlers and he says to her, it's kind of like a soap.
Yeah.
Or she says, one of them says it's kind of like a soap.
Yeah, and that's when it clicks for her.
Yeah, and I think he could, but when you actually look at his fight, it wasn't like an in-depth story or anything. It was just this guy kidnapped my girlfriend. So I think it's more meant to be like, oh, I see. So I'm.
But what I mean is, I would have just liked to have seen, just some, I don't know, some sort of discussion just going on about them sort of saying like, how they planned the lineup and how they planned having those storylines, like, you know, not just quite harshly jump from one to the other, like the thought that might have gone into that process, sort of thing.
Yeah, but I don't think that's what the show's about, so I get it.
Yeah, no, I get what I didn't. I'm just saying I would have liked to.
Yeah.
I thought the show, for me, like the best stuff was seeing them like doing the wrestling training, practicing the wrestling, and doing the actual wrestling stuff. Like all of that stuff I thought was really good.
Yeah.
I also liked, this is something that Kat mentioned to me. I didn't really notice it until Kat pointed it out, but the show didn't, like, I don't know if it was makeup or not, but you could see the bruises on the women in the show.
Could you?
Yeah. Like when they're training and stuff, like Alison Brie particularly, like her legs have got bruises and stuff on them. And I don't know if that was like makeup or if it was just, oh yeah, you've got this bruise from doing this. We're not going to cover it up, sort of thing.
Yeah, I don't know. That's interesting. I didn't notice that. Now that you've said it, I do sort of vaguely, I can sort of picture it, and I'm like, oh yeah, maybe I did sort of pick up on it, but not really.
Yeah. I thought that was kind of good that they showed that, even if it, you know, was makeup or whatever. It was a nice touch.
Yeah.
Another positive, I thought Marc Maron, who is probably better known for podcasting, super good actor.
Who did he play?
The director, Sam.
Okay, cool.
Like, I was not expecting him to be, like, because I only really know him as a podcaster, not expecting him to be a great actor.
I only know him as a name in podcasting.
Yeah. He does...
he's such a good character in this.
Yeah, really
just
good.
Like this creepy 80s director who directs B-movies.
Yeah.
It's good.
Yeah. I can't remember what his podcast's called. Is it like What the F with Marc Maron or something?
Something like that, Liam. What's the hippie hap with Marky Mark? Are you Googling it? Just search Marc Maron podcast.
Yeah, that's what I searched. And I got to his IMDb, to his Wikipedia page. It's just WTF with Marc Maron.
There we go.
Done. Yeah, those were like my main positives. What about you?
Yeah. I really liked the way it took a character who... So the main character, Ruth, is...
Played by Alison Brie.
Yeah. She's this super nice girl who just sort of is trying to do the best for everyone and sort of fucking it all up.
Yeah, I can see from other characters' perspectives why they might find her annoying, because she is nice, but she also does try too hard.
Yeah, 100%. And also does something really fucking horrible.
Yeah. Do you want to...
Like,
we should talk about that.
The first episode, it ends with her fucking a guy?
No. The first episode ends with her best friend Debbie confronting her over the fact.
Oh, is that? Oh, okay. That's all.
That's in the first episode. Yeah.
Is it?
Yep.
You sure?
Yes.
Fair enough. Yeah, you're right.
Why would you doubt me?
Yeah. I don't know. But you find out that she's there's a scene where she fucks some guy who like sneaks into her house, and she's like, "Oh, I thought we agreed."
That's
not
when
to do
you
this.
see her naked for the first time, not the last.
Wasn't keeping track of it.
Well,
you then find out later that it's her best friend's husband.
Yeah.
Who they've just had a kid or have a kid.
Yeah, very recently had a kid.
Yeah. So, you know, she's kind of a homewrecker, and that becomes her nickname for a little while in the show.
Yeah.
I really like the way it took this character who is trying to be nice and, is annoying and sort of gets bullied by everyone else, but sometimes for the right reason, sometimes not.
Yeah.
And then you get to watch this, like, weird reversal in the wrestling part where she plays the villain. Like, she realises that she's actually quite good at being a heel.
Yeah.
Which is the wrestling term for a villain.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I enjoyed the way that flipped. And then, like, I liked that the show was a funny show in terms of it was quite light-hearted for most of it, but then it would also take very serious turns.
Yeah, I never found it, like, massively funny. Like,
it's mainly Marc Maron who makes it funny.
Yeah,
I think it's in the first episode where he's having a discussion about whether she's attractive or not, and he's like, because I want to do you, but also, like, I don't. And you're kind of ugly, but I think you're really hot. And she's just very confused about why he's doing that.
Yeah. He does have some of the best lines, to be fair.
Yeah. But then it also takes like a really serious turn with her and him, where he goes with her to get an abortion because she finds out she's pregnant with her best friend's husband's kid.
Yeah, I do like their relationship and how that evolves throughout the course of the show.
Yes, where they actually sort of end up liking each other.
Yeah. Although I can't tell if there's like a romantic undercurrent to that's going to play out later, or if it is just a mutual like respect.
Yeah, I definitely felt like it was heading that way.
Yeah.
But then I can't really see her being with his character, because he's, as much as like he has his sort of redemption moments where you're like, oh, he's kind of actually a good guy.
Yeah.
He's still also a sleazebag.
Oh yeah, definitely.
But yeah, I don't know.
I think one of the good things about the show is it's not. There's no like, this is the good character, this is the bad character. It's all just different shades of grey.
Yeah, which is always better than them just being like, this is the goodie.
Yeah, exactly.
Because that sucks.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I think most characters, I think maybe only some, secondary characters don't really have that.
Yeah, like Carmen, who plays her wrestler, is Machu Picchu.
Yeah, she's just she is
lovely.
A fundamentally lovely person.
Yeah, she's probably my favourite character, I think.
Yeah, that's fair.
I felt like there was a couple of characters that they didn't really. It felt like they were building them up to something, but they haven't quite got there yet with them.
Yeah, go on. Like, which one?
Sheila, the she-wolf.
Yes, is she a furry or a?
Yeah, it's not really sufficiently explained, is it? To be honest.
No, she's a person that dresses as this she-wolf character.
Yeah,
and you find out that she. I mean, you realise it quite early on that she genuinely is like, I'm this character.
Yeah, and there's quite like almost like a nice moment with her where she's talking to Ruth and she's saying how like this for her this isn't a costume, like this is, and it almost like hints at like there's something deeper going on with her, but it's just a hint. You don't really get to kind of explore that yet in the show. Like there's another season, so they might pick up on that later on. But there was a few characters where I just would have liked to have seen a bit more done with them. Like the other one, I think it's Melanie, is it? The one that's kind of trashy.
Yeah.
Like
the one that's the sort of the dickhead character in the first few episodes.
Yeah, and she has like a lot of screen time at the start of the show, and then they kind of forget her towards the end. And I was just like, at first I thought they were doing something with her, and then they just don't. It's just, I don't know. It was a bit odd.
Fair. I mean, I don't know if it's odd. It's it's a 10-episode series or whatever. Yeah, 10-episode series of 20 minutes.
Yeah. Well, no, it's half an hour. It's half an hour episode.
Well, sorry, extra 10 minutes. Jesus Christ, you're right.
Well, that adds up to 100 minutes.
How did they not fit everyone in?
That adds up to 100 minutes, nearly 2 hours over the course of 10 episodes. So
yeah, okay.
Significant chunk of time.
It's still not a whole lot of time.
Another character that I really liked that did actually get a decent arc, I thought, was Justine.
Yeah, is that the
like emo-y punk-looking girl?
Yes. Who doesn't get a whole lot of screen time at the beginning, but then becomes quite important in the last few episodes.
Yeah. And I think the last 3 episodes were the strongest.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I mean, definitely. They're like the most story intense in terms of like stuff is developing in the story.
Yeah. Another one that I felt like didn't really get enough done with her was Tammy. Her wrestler name was the Welfare Queen.
Yes.
Like, she's great, and she's great in the ring. I just feel like you don't get to see a lot of her character outside of the ring.
Yeah, but like again, I'll forgive this stuff when it's like a 10-episode show.
Yeah, it's just they've got, I think it's something like 14 wrestlers they start with or something, and it's a lot of characters to give a significant amount of time to each.
Yeah, so I think I think they make the right decision. I like maybe it would have been better with the Welfare Queen if she got something like the She-Wolf, where you got the hint that there is a story there, because so far Tammy doesn't have that. I think does she have a? I think there's a moment where she's kind of real with everyone and like.
Not that I can remember. What did you?
No, I think it's just when she's like, "Are they just being racist about me?"
Yeah. What did you think of Kate Nash, who better known as being a singer?
Who did she play?
The British one.
Oh, okay. Well, I loved her character, which is probably weird because I don't know if you're meant to, but I thought she was good.
Yeah, I don't know if you're. There's nothing about her that's inherently dislikable.
No, but I don't think she was there to be like everyone's favourite.
No, definitely not.
And I do love. I think that character is definitely a funny character.
Yeah.
In terms of just, she plays a wrestler scientist who.
No, is she a scientist?
Yeah, she's a scientist.
I thought she was just smart.
No, but I think she wears a lab coat at the whole beginning and is like, "This is why I'm a scientist." I think.
Right.
But then she just carries around a book, wears glasses to look smart, and is maybe the stupidest character in the show.
Yeah, maybe, but she is banging the director.
She is banging the director
for most of the show.
Yeah. But yeah, no. What did you think about
Yeah, she was alright. I think another one who you get to see naked, I think. But I think they spent a lot of time on her character, and it didn't, for me, need that much time with her. Because I didn't particularly... I thought she was okay, but she wasn't like... I would have rather have spent more time with Carmen or someone.
Yeah.
Because she's just so good. And I really liked her storyline with, like, her wrestling family not wanting her to get into the business and her, like, defying them.
I think just mainly her dad. I don't think her brothers particularly care.
Yeah, it's mostly her dad.
Because they help her later on without the dad knowing.
Probably my favourite scene, to be honest.
When they're learning the wrestling moves from them.
Yeah, in the back garden.
Yeah, it is a good scene.
Yeah. Anything that you didn't like about the show?
I think it maybe could have done more with the whole... Because they definitely bring up the fact that it's set in the 80s and there's definitely a hint of racism going on with the black characters.
Yeah.
And they deal with it a little bit where the black characters are like, right, well, we don't want to wrestle old ladies because
that's going to look bad on us.
Two of the other wrestlers have the characters of old ladies.
The breakdown
so they get them to dress up as the Ku Klux Klan and wrestle them. And I was like, so they make a point of the black girls are like, hey, no, we don't want to just be token black people in your wrestling thing. Like, fuck you, that's racist. So we're going to make an anti-racist, like, beat up the Ku Klux Klan. But then that doesn't particularly come up later on in the series again. Yeah. And I was a bit like, oh, okay, I feel like they could have done more.
Well,
and they've got, you know,
it kind of comes
Asian
up
characters.
Like, do not include the Ku Klux Klan anymore.
Yeah,
they're trying to do like they're trying.
But that's not a racism thing. That specific bit that don't bring the Ku Klux Klan again. That's not.
It's because they're targeting like a Saturday AM slot mainly aimed at children. Yeah.
So I guess that's something I didn't like.
But I quite liked. I think Sam had like quite a funny line where he was just like, "Should we be including this for kids?" And he's like, "Well, you're never too young to learn about racism."
Yeah.
I like seeing his justification for it.
Yes. I don't know. What else I didn't like? Again, maybe the whole the abortion story. Like, the actual story itself was deep. That episode that ends with her getting the abortion is kind of horrifying and sad. Yep. Like, not in a abortion's wrong, because it's not, but it's just this sad moment that she has.
Yeah, like she said, it's just the wrong baby.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And then, like, again, nothing sort of comes of that afterwards. Like, it's not tackled again.
I think that's good in a way, because I'm kind of used to seeing American shows and films that bring up abortion, and it's this, like, it's obviously a huge topic.
Yeah, no,
but they
I'm glad it's not a huge deal, but it's literally just a plot point in 2 episodes.
Yeah, but I kind of like that they've done it that way, where they're like, look, because I imagine for a lot of people that do make that decision, it is the sort of thing that, like, it obviously affects your life a lot at that time, but you kind of get on with things. And then
but I don't think you get over it in a day.
No, but I don't think...
Which, towards the end of this show, we are almost going day by day, I think.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know. I wasn't hugely... What's the word? Like, I didn't notice kind of that being a problem for me. I really liked the way they handled it in quite a... like, she'd made her mind up. You know, they...
Yeah, again, Liam, I don't want you misunderstanding what I'm saying, because this is a pretty important topic. Yeah. That, again, I'm not saying that they handled it badly. Yeah. I agree with you. It's handled really well, and they don't make it like oh my god, you shouldn't be doing this, which is good. I agree with you. I'm just saying, for me...
There should have been more of a like lasting effect.
Not even that, just maybe like, not even like a lasting... I don't want it to be, you know, the rest of the show is just her being like, I can't wrestle anymore because I'm so sad. Yeah. But it just felt like very quickly the show was like, okay, that's done.
I guess, in a way, she didn't really have anyone to talk to about it after it had happened.
Well, I mean, at that point, she's kind of got Sam.
Yeah. And
because Sam takes her to it. Which, again, is a really good moment of, like, Sam being a good person.
It is, but I think it's the next episode after that where he basically goes off on a massive bender. He just sort of disappears for a while.
Right at the end? No, maybe not right at the end. I don't
know. Because I think, like, the last episode is obviously the big wrestling show. The episode before that, if I remember rightly, is the fundraiser. And the episode before that is the abortion one. Yeah. So, yeah, if anything, I think the fact that it isn't brought up again just sort of further highlights how alone that character is.
Yeah, sure.
It's not something I'd massively thought about until you started talking about it.
No, I mean, I haven't got a whole lot that I've had negative on this show, Liam, so I'm, like, trying to find the bits that were. Yeah. Not clutching at straws. Fuck you. Again, people, This is why it's difficult to do this with Liam, because he's just an arsehole.
Yeah.
And usually I shout, and I'm not shouting this episode. And I think when I don't shout, it's easier for people to see when you're just being a dick.
Potentially.
Yeah, so I think that's what I need to do, is I need to stop getting angry at you. I need to stop letting you rile me up.
Yeah.
So that people can just go, oh god, yeah, no, Liam is just an arsehole.
Yeah.
Half the time, Liam is just a dick.
Half the time. That's generous.
Well, I'm being generous.
Yeah.
We usually make it about 45 minutes into an episode before I'm like, God, you're really annoying today.
Yeah. It's funny because it's like every day it's a surprise.
What didn't you like about the show, Liam?
Oh, we've discussed this in the past and you disagree, but for me, so episode 1 ends with Debbie confronting Ruth in a wrestling ring, and it kind of then cuts to this really like what's the word, like exaggerated like
it's Sam imagining
like the potential
the
of this thing
headline fight,
and they've got like the whole like wrestling gear on and they're having like a proper wrestling match and stuff, and to me it's like, so he sees that that's kind of the, you know, that's how this show could work, being built around those two personalities fighting, and then we spend the next six episodes getting back to that point where Debbie finally agrees to actually work with Ruth in the ring. And I honestly, like, I didn't binge it like you did, because I think you watched like the first 6 episodes in a day or something.
Yeah, something like that.
I was watching like a couple of nights.
I finished it in 3 maybe.
Yeah. I was watching like a couple of nights. I honestly couldn't tell you particularly what happened in those first like 5 or 6 episodes. Like to me they just sort of blend together, where it's basically just them kind of auditioning, Sam kind of cutting the cast down and then starting to train and stuff, and a lot of Ruth trying to figure out who her character could be. And it just...
Yeah, I think you're being slightly unfair to the show, implying there's like nothing else going on.
No, so there's stuff going on, but what I'm saying is it's nothing that stood out to me as important enough that I'm thinking back and going, right, so that happened in that time period. It's just, to me it just felt like the show getting to where we knew from the end of episode 1 it was going. It just felt to me like it took a really long time getting to where we knew it was going to go anyway. And once it got there, it was great. Like, I loved all of that stuff with them kind of like having this reluctant, like, well, we have to have a working relationship, but that doesn't mean I like you outside of the ring. All that stuff was great. It was just quite a long slog to get there for me.
Yeah, I don't agree with you, but I don't know. Like, I don't know. There's a bunch of stuff that happens in those episodes that does set up stuff, like Debbie leaving Mark. You get episodes where Mark's trying to convince her that he's changed. Oh no, does that happen?
That happens in like the last 3 or 4 episodes. Yeah,
all right. You get you meet the producer. You get to meet the producer's butler.
Yeah,
that is another good character.
Odd.
His robot.
What's that relationship?
I think they're meant to be best friends, and he's done that thing that everyone talks about when they're kids, where they're like, if I was making loads of money, I'd hire you to be my butler.
Yeah, okay.
Because they're just friends who hang out.
Definitely not gay.
Because his butler's shit. Like, his butler doesn't do anything particularly helpful.
Yeah, I really like the relationship between the producer and Carmen.
Yeah.
Like,
I think that's
something going on there. I don't know if it's romantic or not. I can't figure it out, but there is definitely
I feel like it's definitely going to get to a point where that one is romantic.
Yeah, I hope so. That's a great element to the show.
Yeah, it is. I don't know. You get other stuff happening in those episodes.
You do, but none of it. Like, I think back and just none of it really stands out. Like, there's definitely stuff that happens, obviously, but I couldn't tell you specifically. But once we got to where the show was always going, I can then say to you, right, this happened and this happened and this happened. Like, it then kind of, it felt like it found its groove.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, I'll just quickly make my counterpoint to your doing it, but then we'll just move on, because like you said, we have had this argument a lot.
Yeah. And
I think people know our points by now. But my argument would be, like, yes, you know that where it's heading. I don't think that detracts from the story, because that's fine. Like, that's what prequel films do. That's how prequels work. With, you know where the story's going. Let's watch how it gets there. I think that's the interesting thing about this story, is not, we know it's going to end in a big wrestling match. That's fine. I think the interesting thing is, how did they get there? And, like, how do they convince Debbie and Ruth, who, at the start of the season, hate each other?
Yeah.
Or, well, Debbie hates Ruth.
Yeah.
So I think that's the interesting part of the story. I actually think that the final wrestling match, the interesting part of it is the fact that it reveals that Ruth and Debbie have actually worked even closer together in that final match than before, where they've set up, like, a fucking surprise Debbie act.
I don't think that was set up.
Debbie is wearing her uniform under her clothes.
She is, but
Okay, yeah, no, you're right, Liam. She was just like, I'm going to casually wear my wrestling uniform.
no. So the way I read
They
that,
say to Sam, we got you.
so I thought that it was a sort of thing where they'd obviously rehearsed what was initially going to happen, but when Debbie said she wasn't going, I thought that her then revealing that she had the costume and everything was a surprise to Ruth as well as to everyone else, and then they were like, well, we've already practiced this match, so we know what we're doing. But I thought it was a surprise to Ruth. I didn't think that it was something that they planned, her like being in the audience and coming out. I could be wrong.
I don't know.
That's just
it
the
could
way
be
I read
either
that
way,
episode.
I think. I definitely read it at first as them having planned it before, but I could see the argument for it not being that. But either way, I think that
I want to
that's the
see
interesting-
Mark get his comeuppance.
yeah, because that's definitely going to happen because he's a dick
Yeah, exactly.
and hasn't changed.
No, he's awful. Absolutely awful.
Yeah, he's a terrible person.
Yeah, but I feel like he hasn't kind of been brought down a peg or two yet.
Yeah, I also really liked the twist ending where Welfare Queen wins the title.
Yeah,
I think that's because that's a proper like wrestling thing.
Yeah,
where,
that's
like,
setting up next week's storyline.
yeah,
isn't it,
exactly.
really?
Yeah, and that's what Sam says. He's like, yeah, well, we need them to come back,
Yeah,
and they're not going to come back just to watch you be the queen. They want to see you fight for it, sort of thing.
yeah, that was cool.
And I was like, oh, that's a cool ending. And I hadn't seen that coming, and I don't know why. In my head, I was just like, oh yeah, Debbie's going to win the whole thing.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, I probably by like episode 7, I was like, oh, I think it's going to end with Ruth and Debbie fighting. But then when we got to this episode, for me, I was still surprised when Debbie did actually end up fighting, because I kind of was half expecting her to just watch or something. Like,
Yeah,
in some ways, it's predictable what happens, especially if you're like familiar with wrestling and stuff. But in other ways, it's not that I didn't see it coming. It's that the show got me to a point where I was like, it could go either way, and I don't know which way they're going to take it.
yeah, which I think is a good way. If a show can pull that off, like I know how this is going to end, and then right before that, they trick you into sort of doubting that.
Yeah, exactly.
I think that sort of counteracts all the like, oh, I've predicted this. As soon as you doubt it, I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about like
Just
this happens to
generic.
me.
Yeah.
I think the moment that you sort of second guess yourself, you have to sort of go, oh, okay, I think the show got me. Even if it then does the predictable ending, because you're like, but I did doubt it.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, no, I don't know. I just thought the show was like good. I think it's a cool look at how women were treated back there. Like, there's a couple of times where, like, I think the thing where Mark reveals that he hasn't changed is him being like, yeah, but it's just women, like, pretending to be athletes.
Yeah. When does he say that?
Is it not? Is it right at the end?
Oh,
Isn't that what
so I'm getting
pisses her
confused.
Debbie off?
You're saying the husband says that, doesn't he?
Yeah, Mark. Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, I thought you meant like Mark as in Marc Maron.
Oh no.
Yeah. Got you. Yeah.
I meant husband.
I feel
Mark.
like it does do it. I don't know if it's a good job necessarily, but the women are very much in control of their like femininity in it, like they're the ones that suggest doing the car wash to try and raise money. Like, it never feels particularly exploitative, I don't think.
No, not in the like exploiting women in that way.
Yeah.
It definitely has the exploitative stuff with when what is the producer's name?
Bash.
That's it, Bash.
Yeah.
When Bash is like coming up with outfits, and he's like,
Yeah.
"Oh, you're like Asian, so you get to be this," and then
Yes.
she's like, "I'm not from Japan,"
Yeah.
and he's like, no one's gonna notice that."
Yeah.
And you're like,
and like the terrorist.
Yes, exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
And she's like, "I'm Indian."
But equally, I think that also highlights an issue. I don't know if it's still in wrestling today, but definitely when I was watching it in like the late 90s, early noughties, that was a recurring trend.
Oh yeah, 100%. I don't think it is as prevalent today,
No.
but it was definitely a problem that wrestling had,
Yeah.
and like, and and that's what I mean. I think it's doing a good job of showing that.
Yeah.
And it doesn't make it seem good. Like, you're not watching that scene being like, haha, good old Bash. You are like, oh yeah, no, this is definitely problematic.
Yeah. We had an
But, yeah,
email about Glow.
Yeah, from...
Kat Fyson.
What did Kat think?
She said, thought the season was okay. Last 3 episodes were the highlight, especially the wrestling match at the end. Enjoyed Alison Brie's performance, Ruth. Does drama and comedy moments well. Also love Machu Picchu's character too. Will likely watch second season, but wasn't really blown away by season 1. Probably a 3 out of 5 overall.
Yeah, fair enough.
Thanks, Kat.
Thanks, Kat.
I say I kind of agree. I at no point was
That doesn't surprise me.
hooked. Like I watched 3 episodes a night for the last like 2 nights. That's what 6 episodes, which is most of it. But that was more because I knew we were recording. It wasn't because I was like, oh, I can't wait to see what happens next. Whereas I think for you, you were like proper binging it.
Yeah, I started watching and was like, oh, I really like the show, so I'm just going to power through.
Yeah. And I think you're probably going to jump straight into the second season, right?
Maybe not straight into, because I am currently watching the end of a season you recommended to me and the second season of Legend of Korra.
Right, okay.
But then I will then watch Glow, because I was annoyed when I finished it so quickly.
Yeah.
I was then like, fuck, now I have to wait to do season 2.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll get around season 2. But yeah, it was fine. Like, there's nothing that it did particularly wrong. But not a lot of that, for me, it did massively right either. It was just alright.
Fair enough. So what do you give it, Liam?
3 out of 5.
I give it a 4 out of 5.
Do you want to summarise why?
I think I've probably covered it in us talking about the things we liked.
Yeah, but that's why you summarise it. You kind of like...
Well, you're doing a book if someone's skipping ahead, but this is a podcast. They have just listened to me say it all.
Alright. People can just come up with
Don't worry,
their
listeners.
own...
I have faith in you. I think you can probably... Listeners, I believe in you. I think you've probably already figured out why I like this show, because I've spoken about it. If you need a summary, tweet me. I'll tweet you back, and I'll tell you. But I think we're good. I think I get you, listeners. Hey.
It's basically, if you're saying tweet me, it's basically, Amanda, do you need Ellie to give you a summary?
It's basically, is Amanda going to be annoyed that I didn't summarise it at the end?
Probably not, to be honest.
Yeah.
She's pretty switched on.
Liam, what are we doing next time? I'm going to let you say it, because you've been begging for it for half a year, maybe?
Oh, longer than that.
Probably.
I think since we probably did Attack on Titan, which was...
That is fair, yeah. It's probably since we did the first anime on the show.
Which was, I think, it was in the first, 5 episodes, I think.
So, yeah, pretty much the entire show run you've been asking to do this.
Yep. So we're doing what I consider to be the greatest anime I've seen.
Yep.
Which is Barefoot Gen, for anyone that isn't a regular listener. So...
Yeah, can you do like a quick, like a super quick, like what is it for people that don't know without spoilers? I'm assuming the big thing that happens in it, that's not a spoiler, right? Because that's the premise.
Let me see what IMDb says as its summary, see if I can just use that.
Okay,
not really.
Because why do the work if we can just steal it off someone else? I like it.
Yeah, it's basically about Hiroshima.
Yeah.
Basically about Hiroshima. From the perspective of a child.
Yeah. So it's going to be emotional, and I'm going to spend most of the film crying, is my guess.
I don't know. The thing is, because I've been banging on about it so much, I can see you just being like, I don't get what the big deal is.
Oh no, I don't do that. That's you. You've got confused, Liam, from our discussion earlier about you doing this. No, I don't do this. I genuinely, have I seen Grave of the Fireflies? I know I've seen one of them, Grave of the Fireflies, or this one.
Probably Grave of the Fireflies then.
Yeah, and thinking it was like an amazing film. I also which one's Studio Ghibli? Is
Grave
that this
of the
one?
Fireflies.
Oh, okay. Who's this by? Do you know? Don't worry if you don't. We can do it. We'll talk about it next episode. So.
Madhouse, apparently.
I need to learn to stop asking you questions because your urges kick in and you have to research the answer.
Yeah, but yeah, I honestly, I don't think it's any like major company. It is based on a manga, I believe.
Yeah, that's unsurprising. I feel like I've heard that before, maybe.
Yeah, probably.
But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I think it'll be good. I think it'll be good in like this is an important film and we should watch it. I think it's probably going to be sad.
I made Kat watch it when I first watched it.
Did Kat cry?
She Skyped me afterwards because she watched it when she was visiting her parents, and she Skyped me with just tears running down her face, being like, "Why did you make me watch that?"
Yeah, I can imagine. So we'll see, listeners. If you want to hear me and Liam try to not argue about, one of the most horrific events in human history that we're going to have to be careful talking about because it's still pretty recent and horrific, listen to next episode.
Is it pretty recent?
Yeah, dude, it was only like the 1940s.
Yeah.
That's not a whole, that's our grandparents were like kids when it happened.
I'm just trying to do some quick maths. So that's what, 80 years ago now?
Yeah, that's not a lot. That's not a long time, Liam.
Is it recent though?
I'd say it's pretty recent.
Okay.
In terms of
the universe.
No, in terms of fucking the Victorian era, it's still pretty recent.
Is it?
No, the compared to the Victorian era, this is pretty recent.
Right. Okay.
I'm confusing you, Liam. I can tell.
Yeah.
So let's just move on.
Yeah, we're doing Barefoot.
Your brain's shutting down from all the heat that you love.
Oh, it's so good. We're doing Barefoot again. If you haven't watched it, what are you waiting for?
Yeah, go watch it. Let us know what you thought about it. we'll read out your emails next time.
Yeah.
You can send them to nerdonnerdpod@gmail.com.
You
Or
could tweet
you
us.
could tweet us them if they're short. Actually, longer now because Twitter increased their limit. So look at that.
280 characters.
Tweet us at nerdonnerdpod.
No, just at Nerd on
No,
Nerd.
just Nerd on Nerd.
Yeah.
Just Nerd on Nerd.
Facebook.
You could, Facebook. Leave us a Facebook message. Facebook.com/Nerd on Nerd pod, all one word. You could review us on iTunes. If you're doing that, maybe don't leave a review of Grey for the Fireflies.
What?
Not great.
You're
The other
making
one.
this complicated.
I'm overcomplicating it, listeners. When I said Liam's shutting down from the heat, what I meant to say is I'm shutting down from the heat. My room is an inferno. I'm covered in sweat.
Yeah, same.
I'm literally shining.
I'm sat in the dark as well.
Liam, you read this social media bit out. I've done 2 of them. You finish it off.
Oh,
Take us home, buddy.
review us on iTunes, 5 stars. Why not? You could YouTube us. Search Nerd on Nerd. We'll pop up. Still uploading all the old stuff. Enjoy.
Yay. I'm so happy we're doing that.
Me too.
Liam.
Yeah.
Any final thoughts?
No.
Oh, okay.
Do you have any final thoughts?
No.
Bye.
Bye.